from there. So if we think about a good executive, now every role is different, and so let's put the caveat there. And there's no one sweet science to everything, but
For sure.
if I ask you a very open question, what does a top private equity backed executive look like?
Well, you nailed it right at the beginning, saying that every role is different, of course. And in certain situations, certain skills and competencies and personality traits are going to be incredibly important, and they could actually be liabilities in other ones. However, looking across hundreds of these over 17 plus years, I'd point to three traits that I would say when I have the unfortunate situation on the back end of a hire that was a hire that the either the CEO shouldn't have made with a CFO, COO, or that the private equity investor shouldn't have made with the CEO. There are three themes I see that suggest broader based competencies that matter in private equity. And I would say one of them is sense of urgency, that understanding that in private equity investing, time really is money, mathematically speaking. We can deliver a great outcome in terms of an exit or a multiple. And if you look at your model and you look at that happening in 3 years versus 5 years versus 7 years, the LP returns are very, very different. So one is being an executive who respects the importance of time and realizes that we need to getting something done 80% well in a month is often better than seeking perfection in 6 months. So that would be one. Another one I would say, and this does depend on the investor, it depends on the industry, the sector, the subsector. It depends on the investment thesis, how we're really going to create value. Again, generally speaking, I have found it's rare that we see investors going, you know what, they rolled up their sleeves too much. They got into it. They did too much digging in to figure out what was really going on and verify things. 90% of the time, it's the opposite conversation. They're too removed from things. They're over delegating. Happy to speak about some root causes that I see in search processes that can lead to that kind of an outcome. But I would say a willingness to get your hands dirty and really go in and investigate, not 15 pages deep in the model and every single field office across the company's footprint, but selective diving in to verify that things are on track, both as a diagnostic and also as almost creating a cultural norm for all leaders in the company, that diligence and being on top of it is the way that we lead here. That would be number two.
Yeah.
I would say by the very nature of most private equity investors, these are individuals who are quite highly quantitative and analytical by nature. They think in terms of numbers. And I often see a mismatch between execs who are great operators who aren't naturally quantitatively oriented and investors who don't have the deep operating experience, and they end up speaking different languages. So I think a powerful trait, particularly for CEOs and CFOs, anyone who's going to be in the boardroom or having a lot of interface with the investor, is a little bit of a quant first. Quantify things, get things into metrics, make things visual and tangible and numeric whenever possible. Establishes a shared language with investors that leads to greater understanding and an ability to collaborate more seamlessly. So it'd be sense of urgency, rolling up sleeves, getting in there selectively when it matters, and a quantitative bent.